Good morning and welcome to our memorial service and celebration of life for our dear friend Vicki Yung. We will be hearing from both family and friends this morning, along with a wonderful video tribute, and a reception will follow. Two key bits of information for you. If you'd like to come up and say something, share a story, a memory, we will make sure that you have the opportunity right after our scheduled speakers. And also, this service is being streamed live online via YouTube so that Vicki's family and friends in Hong Kong, China, and those who couldn't be with us here today could join in our celebration of life. Now, normally a memorial service like this begins with an invocation by a person of the cloth, but since Vicki's faith was touched by so many elements from Buddhism in China, Mormonism at Brigham Young University in Hawaii, Catholicism here at Georgetown University, and so forth, we chose to open with a passage from poet Khalil Gibran on passing over. For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance. And forever she will indeed sing and dance and climb and be there in every strand of sunlight and every glow of moonbeam. That is our Vicki. Born on February 8, 1963 in Hong Kong, Vicki Yung was the second of three children, and she was fascinated by both culture and language. In 1984, her pursuit of these interests brought her to Brigham Young University in Hawaii, where she majored in linguistics and studied Japanese. And after earning her undergraduate degree, she continued her coursework at Arizona State University, completing a master's in linguistics and communications in 1991. She returned to Hong Kong to work in the English department at the City University of Hong Kong in 91, where she remained until 1999. She had always wanted to pursue a PhD, and her opportunity came after working for an American professor as an assistant. He encouraged her to join him here in D.C. at Georgetown, and she received a fellowship and completed her dissertation in 2003. Now, many of us who met Vicki through her work in the film industry may not know that she spoke portions of 5 or 6 languages, and that she worked for many, many years as a very successful sociocultural and anthropological linguist, both in China, Hong Kong, and here in the U.S. She was a very strong advocate of democracy in Hong Kong, and surprisingly, or maybe not, she was a huge fan of the Arsenal Football Club of the Premier English Soccer League. She brought the same intensity and broad base of knowledge and interests and sense of fairness and humanity to her work as many of us know her for in film, which was spurred not only by her love of movies, but a desire to use media in her linguistics presentations. Vicki had always been a media junkie and an avid film fan, and her colleagues at the City University of Hong Kong remember how she loved the brand new handheld camcorders when they first came out. And as a doctoral student, she began shooting video as a part of her research. But her film career began after taking a media production course at Arlington Independent Media, right around the corner here, in 2008. She appeared in, produced, or was a part of the production team on more than 30 film and TV projects in a short but very fruitful career, including just in the past 2 years, 2 feature films, 4 short films, and 2 web series, with plans to produce and direct a trailer for a feature film, which we will hear about from Mr. Whitener later. On all of these projects, she was very unique in that she advocated for credits and compensation for everyone on the crew, keeping the set comfortable and calm, as we know, and more importantly, creating an atmosphere where creativity could flourish. Now, those are just a few of the many details we need to fill in, and that's where you come in. We are extremely fortunate and very honored to have a member of Vicki's family here today who flew to Washington from Hong Kong yesterday. Please welcome Vicki's niece, Evita Yung.
Hello everyone, I'm Evita, Vicki's niece. I just came from Hong Kong to attend this memorial service. First, I have to thank those who helped to organize this memorial service and who made it possible for us to sit together in memory of my dear aunt. My aunt has always been a kind, loving, and clever person, and a dutiful daughter. I remember seeing her buy gifts for my grandma when I went to have dinner at grandma's place. My dad, that is her brother, left my mom when I was 11. My aunt has been very kind to me. She knew my mom had to work very hard to support the both of us and didn't have a lot of money to spare. So she would take me out for dinner, and she used to buy me little gifts, which were so precious to me. Even after she moved to America, she still took me out whenever she came back to Hong Kong. My aunt had a good eye for detail, and she would remember things I liked. She was really clever, and she did so well in her studies. I knew she worked to pay for her school fees while she studied. She didn't tell me she had cancer until last November, for the reason that she knew that it would be too hard for me. I promised to come and visit her once my school exams are over. But she couldn't wait a long time, and I didn't even have the chance to say farewell to her. I thank every one of her friends who stayed with her and supported her during those difficult times. I'm sure she is having a happy life in heaven, away from pain, and we will receive her blessings from above. Thank you. And I want to say I really love my aunt. I love her so much, and I can't accept her death. And thank you. And thank you for everyone coming today. Thanks.
Thank you, Evita. Thank you so much. Andy, did you want to speak? Okay. And now we will move to our scheduled speakers. Michael?
I want to thank Quinn for making this service happen. I want to thank Quinn and Jennifer for everything they did for Vicki over this past year. When I worked with Vicki and Quinn on a project, I would say that I was on an all-star team, and Vicki was that way as a friend as well. And I know this is a celebration of life. I know we have to stay positive, but I do want to express that this has been very painful and just seems so unfair. Someone I knew back in college when she was writing about losing a family member said, you don't deal with it very well. You just kind of stumble forward because you have to. And I think we're all just stumbling forward emotionally when we think about Vicki. But we do all know that we were blessed for having her touch our lives and having been a part of our life. If you spent very long days with Vicki creating film magic and pursuing dreams, then you felt particularly blessed. I have very, very great memories about a very long day that I spent with her in 2010, interviewing people on the mall when they came for the Rally for Sanity. She had amazing stamina in her spirit, in her ability to stay positive and do great work and be a great person to be with. There's an old expression that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. I'm just hoping that is understandable in Cantonese. Vicki caught a lot of flies, and she was all honey. The poet that Vicki liked, that we'll hear from later, talked about leaving quietly and not taking a single cloud. Vicki did tread gently. She was a gentle person. But she left very big footprints on our hearts and on our spirits.
Thank you, Michael. Jody, please.
Hi, I met Vicki on the sets of 9/11, but first I'm going to read an email that was received from Devashish Ray, who's in India now. And he basically, so I'm just going to read it out. Vicki was always on my left. When I entered through the door to deliver on my famous dialogue, "Tum sab log yahan pe kyun ho?" Vicki would be on my left looking up, eyes searching. I left the US before the film was released, so I didn't get a chance, like my other fellow actors, to interact with her. Her passing was a shock, as I was not aware of her health condition. Occasionally, she and I would have a quick chat, and most inconsequentially study stuff. Yet, she would laugh, probably humor me. I have a vague suspicion that she probably thought that the senior-most actor on the sets was a clown. As Indians, we would often talk in Hindi, and Vicki would look at us disapprovingly. "Sorry, Vicki, we Indians are like that, but you were always one of us." I would like to quote Khalil Gibran in Celebrating Your Life. "What moves through us in silence, a quiet sadness, a longing for more day, one more word, one more thought. We may not understand why you left this earth so soon, or why you left before we were ready to say goodbye. But little by little, we begin to remember not just that you died, but that you lived. And your life gave us memories too beautiful to forget." Vicki, I still search you on my left, Devashish Ray. I met Vicki personally while shooting for 9/11. I remember the very first day I saw her. And she came with Venu, who's sitting right back there, and she was sitting quietly as we all knew each other, and she came in the middle of the shooting. And I walked up to her and said, "Hi, I'm Jyoti. Why don't you come and join us?" And that's where my and her journey started. At that, Vicki was very positive, always smart, funny, calm, very organized, worked with full dedication, and a wonderful actress. My recent visits in the hospital and your home, I knew you were in pain and at times weak. I know you fought hard. You were so positive, still smiling, and you stayed strong till the end. Vicki had said recently to me, "I'm blessed to have my friends. They are also my family and my little angels." Vicki, you have been an inspiration to many and touched many in the short life you've had. As we pray for her family and friends today who are gathered here and watching, I would like to say, I'm sure every one of you has thought of you with love today, but that's nothing new. We thought about you yesterday and the days before that too. I often think of you in silence. Now all we have is your memories. And some of you have your pictures in a frame, others on our computer screens, some on our Facebook pages, and some of you just have you in our hearts. The reality is, We will think of you as long as we live, because you really never get over the losses of friend, family, or pets. We will learn to live with the loss and will heal and rebuild around the losses we have. And with each loss, we will never be the same. And nor should we be, because each person we meet touches us in some way and teaches us something as they leave. Vicki, your memory is our keepsake, with which we'll never part. God has you in his keepings, and we will always have you in our heart. Love you forever. May your journey be peaceful.
Karen?
Thank you. Be sure and check that, height standard, because there was one thing about Vicki that I always remembered was that, while she was not tall in stature, she was one of the tallest individuals that I ever knew. And as I think about her, I didn't think that I would really be emotional about it, but God, I am, because she was so fabulous. She was a person to see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. And it was also quick, but it was so powerful. There were three things that I really thought about. One was presence. Vicki had presence. When I first met Vicki, I was in that class, as was Rana, who's here today, and some others, that was just a studio class with Arlington Independent Media. I never thought for a moment that out of that would come such a beautiful friendship and such a beautiful person that I would come to know, be with, and support as we went through the good times and as we also went through what became the last few months. Because she had a presence, and as others have said, she was always quiet. You never quite knew, but if you really wanted something done, and you wanted it done right, and you wanted it done in a way that was going to make an impact, you had Vicki. And that you can see from the film producers today, how much everyone relied upon her and the work that she did. It was absolutely fabulous. There was another thing that was said, which is the second. Vicki had patience. And I think that that's really hard in the film industry. Maybe it was her background with how she came to us to begin working at AIM, but patience. She would wait, and she would wait for the right moment. And I learned so much from that, because she guided us in terms of don't always jump in, don't always be the person. And by doing so, she was the person. She was the person that we sought out. She was the person to be the producer, to be the person that would pull it all together in the end. And she was very, very good at that. And finally, she had perseverance. And the perseverance is one of the things that really carried her through. You never heard from Vicki in terms of, why did this happen to me? Why did this occur this way? You never heard that. What you saw was a person who was always thinking positive. I went over to Vicki's apartment several times, and I helped her when she couldn't cut the vegetables to make the special soups. And she taught me how to make the very special soup that she got from China that was supposed to help her. And it was a soup made up of all sorts of wonderful vegetables and some very special almonds. And there were two different kinds of almonds that some friends had brought her. And I had to put the almonds in. And one was just a little teeny amount that you would put in. And I thought, why such a small amount? And so I asked her. And she said, matter-of-factly, well, if you put any more in, it can kill you. I said, okay, better label these jars. So, of course, she labeled the jars. She labeled the jars for me. Okay. I learned a little bit about language because, of course, they were labeled in Chinese. And I said, okay, now I have to memorize these jars because I have to remember when I make this soup again. And her friends had brought her the vegetables, and then I went over to the farmer's market one Sunday morning, and lo and behold, I'd never seen them before in the farmer's market. There were those vegetables, and they were tiny little miniatures of what I had been working with for her. And I was so excited that I bought all these vegetables, and I came back to make the soup again. Okay. Now you have to understand, we all know this with Vicki. When you make a soup for Vicki, you don't just make a little bit of soup. You make a lot of soup. Because whether she was going through a week of chemotherapy or not, oh my, could that woman eat? Okay? We all know this. And not only that, but she could guide us. So she would sit on the couch, and I would be in the kitchen preparing the soup. And she would simply guide me and not tell me what to do, but guide me in a gentle way, in a way that made it a sharing of a meal that was so absolutely wonderful. And so there was one thing that we did, which you'll see in the video, and Quinn arranged it. He borrowed a van from someone, and we all decided that on a week when Vicki wasn't going to be in chemotherapy, that we would go up to the Shenandoahs and we would look at the changing of the leaves. And so I prepared a picnic lunch that met all the criteria that you have to do with food these days to meet everyone's specifications, which actually was just really fun and easy to do with Vicki. She gets into the van in the front seat, and you can just feel her happiness. You can feel her happiness that she's going out on an adventure. Doesn't matter where she's going. And the rest of us in the back seat chatting away, having a good time, and Quinn trying to drive and keep his eyes on the road while we're just all having a great time. And we get up through Front Royal, and then we get into the park. And fortunately, I had a friend from California with me who actually, qualified to get one of those senior passes for life for getting into the national park. So we all got in free, which was really cool. But when we got there was a little bit of fog. Okay, there was a lot of fog. But you know what? It didn't matter to Vicki that there was fog because she was with her friends. She was having a good time. All that mattered to her was, well, if it's cold and it's foggy here, where are we going to eat? Okay, so we left the park, went down to a little public park with a very nice covered picnic area, and we had an absolutely wonderful lunch. But never in that process was any comment of, I'm tired, it hurts. It was, I'm so glad that I'm with you. I'm so glad that you are my friends. And that was Vicki, because she made everything an adventure of sharing with people. And that's what we'll most remember. And I think that with respect to the fact that she had something that was not going to be a thing that she could actually beat, she approached it very much like how Stuart Scott said it so recently, which is, when you die, it does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live. And I'm so proud to have had the opportunity to spend the time that I did with Vicki, to spend the time with all of you here today and with those of you who are here, because we're celebrating the life of one of the most beautiful people that I think I will ever know in my life. And I thank you, Vicki, for that from the bottom of my heart.
Next, we'll hear from both Quinn and Vic.
Sorry. Well, it's still at a point where I still don't fully accept this, that she's gone, because it's just all happened so fast in terms of a matter of a few months. And I've known Vicki for, I'd say, about 3 to 4 years now, and I met, along with Jyoti and Devashish sir from India, on that film 9/11, where we made together in Maryland. And what we shared was the love for films, and that was our common point. And then along with Quinn too, who can who also shared the same love, and that's how we all came together. And I can say fully for the fact that without Vicki, I don't think I would have had the motivation to really go for filmmaking. I always wanted to do it, but she was really the one who really motivated you. She believed in you, and then that's what she always did for people. She believed in other people. She gave them the motivation and the spirit that they needed to fulfill their dreams. And she shared the same dream, so we all grew together, and it's just like she went from friend to becoming family in a matter of moments. And she had that effect on many people. She's just, I'm just speaking from the heart. We really didn't think of anything particular to say, so bear with me as I get it all out. And Quinn, anything you want to?
Yeah. This is kind of what you're seeing here is a result of Vicki not being here.
Yeah.
As in the last 3 weeks, putting together even this little memorial service, I appreciated more and more what Vicki did for us, because she actually put together the whole show. Vic came up with the ideas that ran through the images and the storyline, and I would show up more or less last minute with some people and some cameras and try to shoot what Vic had imagined, but Vicki had essentially pulled everything together to create the space that would allow us to create, and she was extremely good at it. She needed to prod him, to tell him that he needed to come up with an idea, do something, even if it was the last week.
Yeah.
And she also knew enough, or trusted me enough, which is a little bit of a stretch. I didn't report to her what was going on, that I would show up at the last minute with everything I needed. So far, it has worked out. I think most of our products have been pretty good, but most of it has been because Vicki was so very good and so very detailed in her preparations. And I didn't really start appreciating that until later and later. And then, I know another person that will be speaking, she was, even as she was sick, she was working on producing a full feature film for him. And film was something that she loved, and I guess the only thing going through my mind right now, besides missing her and appreciating her, is I can share a couple stories of how I first met her, because it was a little bizarre for me, because 4 or 5 years ago, through AIM, there was a shoot, and all volunteers would show up, and I think one of the other producers had a bunch of cameras in addition to other cameras. Handed a couple cameras to us in the morning, and then I was running around with I think essentially it was a 45-pound rig with batteries and the camera and the lens. And somewhere about an hour or two later, I think the other volunteers, Vicki being one of them, showed up, and I just kind of like looked at her, because I couldn't quite get the scale right, because she was pretty tiny. I was just kind of looking at her, and then also she wasn't dressed like the rest of us. The production guys, we tended to dress in black or grungy outfits because we're going to be dealing with a lot of equipment. In that day, on a nice bright sunny day in May, she was dressed like a little t-shirt and a little white skirt, and I was just like, what is this? And it just, I couldn't quite get the scale right. But then it got even worse when because I had been using the camera all morning, and I think she was willing to try. I handed her to the camera, and I think that's when I realized that she didn't weigh very much. I think that camera was about half her weight. So that was coming back to me in the past few months. And the other time, Vicki had a great sense of humor, and I remember one of the first times Michael and I were working on the Rally for Insanity in DC, I think in 2010. And so there's a picture on the website where I just took a random overhead shot, because while we were surrounded by people, every once in a while looking around, I could see Michael, but I couldn't see Vicki because she was lost. And so I would take a couple photos every now and then just to make sure she was still there. But she never freaked out. She was always very calm, and she always seemed to know where we were. But later on in the car, as we were doing something else, I finally asked her, it's like, so Vicki, how tall are you? And silence. It was like a long pause. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, I've offended her. It's like, this is a very personal question or something. Michael was there, he could verify this. And she said, well, you know, I've always been thinking about making a documentary titled 4'11". And it took my brain a minute to go, what? Oh, okay, okay. Then I laughed because relief that she wasn't mad at me, and then later on, it's like thinking that over. I appreciate her humor. Thank you. Anything else?
I mean, overall, I think as filmmakers, I think what we all want to do is tell a good story to the audience, and I think she did that with her life, and she lived a great story. And she had a great appetite. We all knew that. And
I think
that's
she will be. I mean, if she was here, she'd be standing right in the middle of us because
Yeah.
she was essentially our core, and so we will try to continue to work together because we got better and better with each project. And I know Vic's got a few ideas running through his brain, and we're gonna try to get through it. But with every production, especially the next few years, we know she will be missed.
yeah, she'll be really missed. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Vinu?
When we first born, no one has a name. But when we die, only name will be there. That is one of the example is here, Vicki Yung. So there are so many people around here, but only today, Vicki, she is immigrant from long time ago. She came here, but we never met with any other family members. But today, so many friends she has here, everyone making so memorial service today. That means only she has a very good relationship with friends and her name. So first of all, thank you to AM. She introduced me a very nice friend, Vicki Yung. And not only Vicki Yung, there are so many talented people in this area in the filmmaking. So that's what I was one of the. I have a few friends in the Bollywood, so they're making the movie. So I introduced Vicki as an actor. So that suddenly that's a Bollywood movie, is the Indian movie. There is one Chinese character. So they are searching for I was the production manager for the movie, and they are searching for the Chinese actor. Then suddenly I remember Vicki. Hey Vicki, can you act? She said, no, I'm not an actor. I'm a producer, I'm a director. I know, Vicki, you are not an actor, but you have to act because I know your talent. I know your talent, you have to act. So it's not that easy. She never agreed for that because she said, I want to be a director, I am a script writer, I am a producer. But finally, surprisingly, out of 11 actors, like Jyoti, he's here, she's one of the famous lead actor in that. So 11 characters, I think. She got a very good name, and everyone, like, she got an award also somewhere, like best actress somewhere in the. So everyone liked that, oh, this Chinese character, this completely different, but she made 100% satisfaction. Everyone liked that, her role. So, so I don't know whether she acted any other movies, but I never saw her acting, but that is I remember, and everyone maybe, Vic made a nice video, maybe everyone saw that. So she acted in the 9/11 movie. And Vic, myself, and Queen, we are 4 people. As a team, we made so many movies here. So thanks to Vic for producing so many movies. And we are we made a few movies. Everyone, like Vicky mentioned in our interviews everywhere. So like Table for Three, Campus Rose, so many movies. Every movie is a different, and we all worked as a team. This is one of the very good, like team spirit. We are all from different, different contents, maybe different language, different traditions, different cultures. But as a team, we decided one project. Like we first of all, thanks to Vic. So he made so many movies here, and he just write the script and send it to Vicky and myself, and even Quinn also. So if there is something, if we all agreed with the script, then only it's going to the production. I know he made one New Year, some script he made. So that's what the good team spirits, the teamwork. So that's what we learned from the Vicky. She's a very good team player and advisor, very hardworking. So that's what today I'm here, because everyone, we as a team, we made in this area, DC area, with the AIM and Bollywood, the connections improved, and we are as a team that so many people likes our work. And unfortunately, I was producing the movie, and I called her last, I remember like August. Hey Vicky, finally, because I was just as a team member, I was working with Vicky and Vicky, but I never produced any movies up to that point. So then finally I made a script, and I was working on the script, and I called Vicky. So she said just bad news. I never imagined that. So, sorry, I cannot come, so I'm going to take it. I was so shocked. So, and that made Quinn as our cameraman. He also, because he, English Hollywood movie. It's my country movie, because the content, the subject touches the India and America is the two units. So Queen is a completely different language. I am as a director, I am so busy with other things. So then we saw first time, if we have a Wiki on site, how it is, and without Wiki, how it is. So it's almost like I know it's 8-9 hours shoot, but it took all the night. And I remember that Queen completely passed out, and he don't know what to do. And it's almost like sun came. It's supposed to be night shots, but sun came. But so that's what that was. I want to say, like, how Vicky was so organized every time we have that. So that the first time without Vicky, we saw the difference. So I'm very thankful to Vicky, and she. I miss really. That's a great miss for me. So, but finally, whatever, my product came out very well. So, and within shock, like suddenly when I saw her Facebook message on the Thanksgiving, she said something on the Facebook, and I was thinking, okay, she is recovering. Suddenly, within just few, I think 10 days, suddenly I saw the shocking message from Queen. I never imagined, like, still, like Vic said, still I can't remember, like, I can't, like, imagine she's not here. Still we are thinking, because whenever we are like Michael Shea, Jyoti and Queen, Vic, whenever we are there, Vicky was always there. So this is the first time we are missing. So that's thank you.
Lawrence, sir?
Wow. Vicki Young is an amazing human being. I knew her at the business, everything about this business. Rightness, that made being on a set with her such a joy. I met her, well, the thing about Vicki was her smile. And she would smile through her eyes. So when you met her, you liked her. And that was my first reaction. When I heard that she had passed, my first reaction was, well, that sucks. Why? What's the purpose? My immediate second reaction for the next 12 hours was to cry. And I kept asking why, because it didn't make sense. I had only met this human being 8 times. Twice on a movie set where she so impressed me that I invited her out twice for a business meal to discuss this movie. And she was so enthusiastic about it and signed on for it. And we started communicating every other week to see what was going on. And the way you communicated with Vicki is she loved to text. And I know this because she told me that when I used the word email. So I knew what, and I would offer to take her to doctor appointments, to run errands, to just come visit. But Vicki was a private person, and not in the sense that she wanted to be by herself, but she just didn't want to bother other people with her own problems. What an amazing human being. So the 5th time we met is when she invited me to the premiere with the dinner afterwards. And I could see she was a little tired. I knew what she was going through. But when we started talking about the business, that smile came back. And so we kept in communication. And so when I find out she's in the hospital, I just simply said, where? And can I come visit you now? And I shot over there in 45 minutes. And she was tired. But once we started talking about this film and the business, she got that smile. And she got excited. And I came back the next day to visit, and it was Thanksgiving, and we just talked for so long about things, and I wasn't going to tell a story, but we started talking about the film we're working on, and Quinn was there, and we started talking about shooting the trailer, and he said, who are you thinking of directing it? And Vicki and I had already talked about this at one of our meals, and yes, and I paid for them. Yes, she did like to eat. So, but she said, I think you should direct the trailer. Me, and she goes, well, again, she believed in people. She said, I know what you can do. So when we're in the hospital, and Quinn asked me that question, and I'm not speaking egotistically, or however you say that word, and I said, well, I thought I'd direct it. I'm just glad he wasn't armed, because if he had a gun, he would have shot me. Yeah, oh no, another one of these. Just because you wrote it, you think, yeah, no. So it was her idea, take it up with her, it wasn't me. So that was the next to the last time, and I saw how tired she was. And so it's after Thanksgiving, and we're getting close to Christmas, so I came back to visit her. And when her nurse pulled back her curtain, and she saw, Vicki saw standing in front of her in my dark maroon European frock, 6-foot candy cane, standing there in my complete Santa Claus costume. Oh my, that smile. And then we had such a wonderful visit that time, and talking again about the business, which is what she loved. And then I asked her, hey, can I come visit you today? No, I'm tired. Next day, can I come visit you today? No, it was a bad night. Okay. Can I come visit you again? No. And so I sent her emails, and I don't understand. All of a sudden, she won't let me visit. And then the response I got back from Steve was that she had passed. And that was the journey for me to figure out why, obviously, I'm still so upset. Because I thought the best thing you could ever do for another human being was to make them smile, which is why I went as Santa Claus. But what Vicki taught me was the best thing you can do for another human being is to leave them smiling. And that's what she's done for us. So Vicki Yung is an amazing human being. And all I can ever do is just simply say, Vicki, I miss you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you. Arturo?
Good morning, everyone. Everyone here. Good evening, everyone in Hong Kong, and hello to everyone else who's in between watching. We are here to celebrate the life and the living that Vicki Yung did. And I really like this life celebration idea because so many times when we get together and there are funerals or people have passed away, died, passed on, the different terms that we use, you know, it's so sad. And what I see and what I've heard and the common thread that everyone has said today is about Vicki and about her joy, about her love, about her inspiration, saying, hey, you direct this, you can do it, about being the glue, you know, in between Quinn and Vic, and if she's not there, stuff just goes crazy, you know? So the thing to carry away from Vicki and from her life is her memory, because her memory is what we have with us, and how we treat other people is how we honor her memory. So last night I was thinking, you know, this event right now, what am I gonna wear? And you know, it's Vic Nesh, he looks great with the all black. And I'm thinking, if I wore all black, I could see Vicki, like, you know, because she would always hit me. And she'd be like, why are you wearing all black, you know? Do I make you sad? So I looked and I kind of went with this. And I'm thinking also, you know, I don't know her favorite color. I heard pink. Somebody mentioned pink. If somebody knows her favorite color, just tell me later. But as friends, as much of a friendship that we had, we talked about tons of things. Vicki was extremely intelligent. And I figured this out because we met on a set. And then as everyone's talked about, she's so smiley and she's so happy. And she was like, you're on Facebook? And I'm like, yeah, I'm on Facebook. So she's his friend. So we friended each other. And then I had some wild, crazy post about something. And she jumps in and starts talking about Newtonian physics. And I said, well, quantum physics says this. So then I said, wow, she's, you know, like really intelligent. I like this intelligent conversation. So she was an offline and an online friend. We got together a couple times, had lunch, things like that. But I don't know her favorite color. So do this. We're all friends here in different ways. Are we talking to each other? Do we know the little things about each other? Do we know our friends' favorite colors, favorite likes, dislikes, dogs, whatever? The little stuff that doesn't matter. It hit me yesterday trying to pick a tie. I'm like, I don't know what she would like, but I could see her liking this. Another thing is, the final thing is, I asked her what she needed one time. I was doing this shoot in DC for one of these 3-letter agencies, and I knew that, you know, she had some things going on, and I knew the proximity of where the shoot was to where she lived, and I said, do you need anything? And of course I texted her this, and she was like, yes, can you get me some organic fruit? So I'm thinking, okay, great. So I'll pick up this organic fruit. So I stopped by, you know, first off, I don't know where she lives. I've never been there before. And I'm looking around like, where's a grocery store? I don't know where a grocery store is. You know, I got to visit her. I only have a certain amount of time, and she wants this organic fruit. Are we asking people what they need? That's just something that Vicki always did. Because she would always come around and say, do you need anything? Do you need anything? So I stopped by the place, and I did pray a little bit too, because like the meter wasn't working, and there was only this little spot, and the only other place to park was a faraway lot. So I said, hey, I'm doing something good. There will be no tickets when I get back. So I came back, I had the stuff, and I drove past the actual Trader Joe's on the way here, which was cute and fun. And I got to the place, and she opens the door, and she says, I love Vicki. Oh, thank you. Put that in the kitchen. You know Vicki, right? I love that she said, no, don't visit me. Are we honest with each other? Come visit, don't visit. Take away Vicki's honesty. Take away Vicki's joy. Take away Vicki's wanting to know the little things about you. That's what I'm going to take away. And, you know, she meant so many things to so many people. So the best way we can honor her is to honor her memory and how we treat others the way that she treated us. Thank you.
And Arturo, you know as well as I do that that bag would maybe hold her lunch. So before we open up the floor to other speakers, there are a couple of emails that we received from her relatives and friends in Hong Kong, and we have done our best to translate from the Cantonese to English, so some of it may be halting, but we will start with Tommy Young. Okay. Vita, who is that to Vicki? Tommy is her younger brother. All right. He says, and again a rough translation, Vicki, I've been thinking about you for a long time and wanted to tell you, but also how to write it in the past 2 weeks when our mood has not settled the whole affair. My brain has gone blank. In the past, I've been accustomed to your presence, and I can do all the fun and wayward things you like, even take care of Mommy in Guangzhou. And, of course, back a decade to Hong Kong. I knew you were leaving, but I did not have a moment like this, so strong, so cognitive, that my heart is suddenly filled with a distressed, even choking moment of sadness. Vicki, you are my most glorious pearl, and you're always in my parents' heart. You are self-confident, independent, strong-spirited, and always poised to help, my good sister. So I will take care of Mommy. Maybe this is your greatest regret. You rest in peace. Your laughter, your teachings stay forever in our hearts. I love you, but I will never see you again. Have you gone with the wind up? Have you blown into another world very far away? Do you just leave us? Do you float in paradise forever and ever? And finally, thank you for staying with a friend to take care of my sister. And he sends thank you to you, Andy, as well. To her special soups and her fruit juices. And thank you all for putting this, he uses the phrase funeral, but we all know that we're celebrating life here. And we thank you, and that is from Tommy, her younger brother. From Vincent Young. Andy asked, again, Andy is with Evita today, asked if he could help express the gratitude that everyone in the family in the U.S. On behalf of this day could handle, and unfortunately, he failed to personally thank you for their help, but he's sending it to you now. Vicki, I did not expect so soon for you to be away from us, but we have our home glories and our past efforts together. We will always remember you, especially your childhood, your laughter, and the profound impression you left on us. I have been crying for a long time because of what you gave to Mom and what you worked with on your dad to retrieve. We still remember your childish fat face liking apples. And these things we remember like they happened yesterday. Please come back to us in Hong Kong, Deng Nai, Jiangni, and tell us that you're safe, and rest in peace. And finally, from Ian Farley, who was here in the States but could not make it today. Ian Farley says, one of my favorite memories of Vicki is when she invited me to have dim sum in Roslyn. We were both foodies, enthusiasts, and I was excited to try the renowned Cantonese cuisine. When I confidently turned down a fork for chopsticks, Vicki laughed and told me I held them like she did when she was 5 years old. She humbly demonstrated the proper method, and I joyously displayed my newfound talent. Much like improving my chopstick etiquette, Vicki generously helped so many filmmakers by enhancing their projects. I met Vicki in a filmmakers meetup we both joined at Arlington Independent Media. And in this group, we learned script writing and filmmaking techniques. Vicki embraced the skills she'd learned to become an enthusiastic AIM volunteer. And her love for movies and storytelling became an invaluable source of encouragement and knowledge when she took on the role of producer on a script I had written for our meetup. Vicki provided a constant source of support whenever I felt discouraged or uncertain. And in 2009, we screened the short film of my script titled Choked Up, thanks largely to Vicki's ardent belief in my work. Over the past 6 years, Vicki's list of projects still astounds me. Her work ethic and passion for the unlimited possibilities of stories will continue to inspire me. The moments that we shared with Vicki on set, at AIM, or at a dim sum table are moments with a woman who wanted us all to bring passion to our work, believe in ourselves, and enjoy foods and film that brought us together. That from Ian Farley. We will open the floor if you'd like to speak and haven't had a chance to. Just raise your hand and I'll bring you up. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. We good? Okay. In filmmaking, you have 2 hours to tell a story. In documentaries, 1 hour is the norm. Short films, it's a luxury to get 6 or 7 minutes. And in news, as Mike knows, 1 minute to tell the entire story. That's all you get. When you are lucky, a single close-up, a stillness in the frame can say everything. Please turn your attention to the 2 projection screens up above me for a beautiful video tribute to Vicki put together with your photos and videos, and we thank you for sending those. Produced by Vic Krishna. Thank you, Vic, for your efforts. Please turn your attention to the 2 projection screens up above me for a beautiful video tribute to Vicki put together with your photos and videos, and we thank you for sending those. Produced by Vic Krishna. Thank you, Vic, for your efforts. Please turn your attention.
尔达哇，キラキラ，赶紧哪里去啊？
Rolling. Behind the scenes.
Fact has a screen time.
I'm Mark. I'm busy.
My friend out there is.
Scene 15A 2-2, take one.
That was beautifully done, Vic. Thank you so much. In closing, our celebration of life today, one of Vicky's favorite poets, Zhu Zhimo, was also a Chinese-born, Western-educated person who started down one path in life, originally law in his case, before changing to the creative arts, as well as leaving us at a very early age of 34 in his case. He is best known for a poem that is etched on a large stone at Cambridge University called On Leaving Cambridge. The first and last stanzas are very appropriate for today from the English translation. Softly I am leaving, just as softly as I came. I softly wave goodbye to the clouds in the western sky. Quietly I am leaving just as quietly as I came. Gently waving my sleeve, I am not taking away a single cloud. May God keep Vicki cradled in his arms on her journey of everlasting and eternal peace. Amen. Pardon me. Thank you for attending today. There is a reception. Of course, there has to be food when Vicki is involved. There is a reception today in the church through those doors where we hope you will share more wonderful memories of Vicki. Thank you again.